For over 3,000 years, the Galactic Dominion had never lost a war. Entire civilizations disappeared at the sound of its name. Worlds surrendered before the first battleship entered orbit. The Dominion's banner flew over nearly 70% of known space, and every species believed one simple truth: resistance was impossible. Then they reached Earth. Humanity had spent centuries quietly rebuilding after countless internal conflicts. While other civilizations competed for territory, humans focused on science, diplomacy, and exploration. Their fleets were rarely seen outside their borders, and their ambassadors spoke more about cooperation than conquest. To the Dominion, that looked like weakness. Inside the massive Galactic Council chamber, representatives from hundreds of species watched as Supreme Marshal Karex stepped onto the central platform. His armored scales shimmered beneath the chamber lights. The human species, he announced, has refused Dominion membership. Murmurs spread through the chamber. They deny our authority. More whispers followed. They believe themselves equal. Now laughter echoed across the hall. Karex raised one claw. Therefore, by authority of the Eternal Dominion, I formally declare war on planet Earth. The room erupted into applause. Most believed the conflict would last less than a day. Even the council historians had already begun writing humanity's obituary. Far away, on Earth, the declaration arrived through every diplomatic channel simultaneously. No panic followed. No emergency broadcasts. No terrified civilians. Instead, world leaders gathered beneath Geneva in a chamber that had not been opened for over 2 centuries. The room contained no decorations. Only a single circular table. And one locked console. An elderly woman wearing a simple navy uniform entered silently. No medals. No rank insignia. Yet every leader stood the moment she walked inside. She placed her hand upon the console. The machine scanned her DNA. Access confirmed. The table illuminated. One message appeared. Protocol Aegis. The oldest military contingency in human history. Hidden since before humanity ever joined the stars. Several younger leaders exchanged confused looks. What exactly is Protocol Aegis? One finally asked. The woman remained silent for several seconds. Then she answered. It is our reply. Across the room, ancient screens awakened. Thousands of classified star systems appeared. Most weren't marked on any galactic map. Entire fleets suddenly appeared from hidden locations. Not dozens. Not hundreds. Thousands. Massive shipyards buried inside asteroid belts activated simultaneously. Moon-sized manufacturing stations came online after centuries of silence. Artificial suns reignited. Deep beneath Earth's oceans, gigantic blast doors slowly opened. Something enormous began rising toward the surface. No one spoke. One young president stared at the tactical display. I thought our Navy only had 800 active warships. The elderly commander looked toward him. Officially, yes. She pressed another command. The display changed. The number kept climbing. 10,000, 25,000, 60,000, 120,000. Still rising. Hidden fleets. Reserve fleets. Autonomous defense armadas. Entire generations of warships that the galaxy had never known existed. Humanity had never stopped preparing. They had simply stopped showing the galaxy what they possessed. Meanwhile, inside Dominion High Command, celebrations had already begun. Generals argued over who would receive Earth's surrender ceremony. Some debated which continent should become the new Dominion capital of Sector 9. Others joked about how long humans would last. No one noticed the long-range sensors. No one saw thousands of impossible energy signatures awakening beyond explored space. No one realized that Earth's response to the declaration of war had already begun. And before the Dominion understood what humanity had unleashed, the strongest empire in the galaxy had already made the greatest mistake in its history. Across Dominion-controlled space, confidence remained absolute. The declaration of war had been broadcast to every civilized world. News channels predicted Earth's surrender within 72 hours. Military analysts competed to estimate how quickly the Dominion would occupy the human homeworld. Some even debated which Dominion governor would rule Earth after the invasion. No one imagined the humans had no intention of defending a single planet. They intended to end the war before the first invasion fleet ever reached Earth. In the Sol system, hidden shipyards continued awakening. Gigantic rings surrounding forgotten moons glowed with blue fusion light as automated factories accelerated into full production. Ancient dry docks, concealed inside hollow asteroids, unlocked for the first time in nearly 3 centuries. Thousands of battleships drifted from darkness. Each vessel looked unlike anything the galaxy had ever designed. Their hulls were smooth white nanoceramic armor reinforced with silver titanium frameworks. Electric blue energy veins pulsed beneath the surface, feeding reactors powerful enough to move small moons. At the center of the fleet floated something even larger. The THS Resolute. Nearly 40 kilometers long. It wasn't just a flagship. It was a mobile fortress, factory, command center, and planet-scale defense platform built during humanity's darkest age, a time when extinction had seemed inevitable. Only a handful of people on Earth even knew it existed. Admiral Evelyn Hayes stepped onto its bridge. Unlike Dominion command ships filled with shouting officers, the Resolute was silent. Hundreds of holographic displays floated in the air while artificial intelligence processed millions of calculations every second. A calm synthetic voice echoed through the bridge. Protocol Aegis activation complete. Reserve Fleet Alpha online. Reserve Fleet Beta online. Deep Void Fleet online. Sentinel network synchronized. Hayes nodded. Status. A tactical officer smiled. 126,000 combat vessels responding. Another officer added, 17,000 autonomous defense platforms activated. Orbital shield network at 100%. The bridge fell quiet as the final report appeared. Estimated Dominion awareness, 0%. Hayes allowed herself a rare smile. Good. Let's keep it that way. Far beyond Dominion territory, hidden listening stations intercepted military communications. Human intelligence officers watched every fleet movement without being detected. The Dominion believed its encrypted networks were impossible to penetrate. They had no idea human cyber specialists had quietly monitored them for over 60 years. One transmission caught everyone's attention. The first Dominion armada had begun mobilizing. Nearly 12,000 warships. Enough firepower to erase entire star systems. The fleet's destination. Commander Elias Morgan studied the tactical projection. They're following the exact route we predicted. Hayes folded her hands. Excellent. They're walking into the corridor. Several young officers exchanged nervous glances. The corridor. A narrow region of interstellar space surrounded by unstable neutron remnants. To the Dominion, it was simply the fastest route to Sol. To humanity, it was a perfectly prepared battlefield. For over a century, engineers had secretly transformed the region into the largest defensive trap ever constructed. Millions of cloaked satellites, quantum minefields, gravity distortion arrays, weapons hidden inside dead planets. Everything remained invisible, waiting. Meanwhile, aboard the Dominion flagship Conqueror Eternal, Supreme Marshal Carex addressed his admirals. Our victory is inevitable. Cheers erupted across the command chamber. The humans possess courage. He laughed. But courage has never defeated power. His officers nodded confidently. None of them questioned him. None of them questioned the intelligence reports claiming humanity possessed fewer than 1,000 frontline warships. None of them realized those reports had been carefully planted by humanity itself. As celebrations continued, an intelligence officer hesitated before speaking. Marshal. Carex turned. What is it? We've lost contact with 3 deep space reconnaissance probes. Carex waved dismissively. Equipment failure. But sir, all 3 disappeared in the same sector. The Marshal smiled coldly. By tomorrow, we'll own that sector. The officer reluctantly stepped back. No one investigated further. No one noticed that the missing probes had not malfunctioned. They had been silently captured and dismantled by human stealth vessels already waiting in the darkness. As the Dominion's mighty armada crossed the edge of known space, its crews celebrated the coming conquest. Ahead of them lay empty stars. Or so they believed. Hidden beyond the darkness, over 100,000 human warships stood motionless, their engines cold, weapons charged, and targeting systems locked. The trap was set, and the galaxy's strongest empire was flying straight into it. The impossible had happened. Across thousands of inhabited worlds, billions watched the battle unfold in stunned silence. Dominion propaganda channels, once filled with promises of an effortless victory, now broadcast only chaos. Their so-called invincible First Armada had become a graveyard of burning wreckage. For the first time in 3 millennia, the Galactic Dominion was retreating. On the bridge of the THS Resolute, Admiral Evelyn Hayes studied the tactical display. Red enemy markers blinked out one after another as Dominion ships surrendered or were disabled. "Status report," she ordered. A tactical officer answered immediately. Enemy combat effectiveness has dropped below 20%. Over 9,000 Dominion vessels have been destroyed or captured. Human fleet losses remain below 100. The bridge remained calm. There were no cheers. No celebrations. Only quiet professionalism. Hayes looked at the holographic map. The First Armada is finished. Commander Elias Morgan stepped forward. But this isn't over. He enlarged another section of the galaxy. Hundreds of Dominion military installations glowed across dozens of sectors. Their reserve fleets are mobilizing. Millions of citizens across the galaxy expected another massive war. Instead, Hayes smiled slightly. They won't get the chance. Deep inside Dominion territory, without firing a shot, human stealth task forces had already infiltrated the Empire's most important systems. Hidden drones emerged from asteroid belts. Cyber warfare satellites activated. Quantum communication relays were silently taken offline. Across hundreds of star systems, Dominion admirals suddenly lost contact with high command. Navigation networks collapsed. Military logistics froze. Supply convoys disappeared from tracking systems. Fuel depots refused automated access. Defense platforms identified friendly ships as unknown contacts. Entire fleets became stranded without a single human battleship entering orbit. Panic spread faster than any invasion. Inside the Dominion capital, the magnificent world of Vorth Prime, emergency sirens echoed through the Imperial Palace. Supreme Marshal Karex stormed into the Strategic Command Center. "What is happening?" An intelligence officer struggled to speak. "Our communications grid has failed. Our reserve fleets cannot coordinate. Defense satellites are offline." Another officer looked up from his console, his face pale. "Marshal, they're inside our network." Karex froze. "Impossible. No civilization has ever breached Dominion security." The officer swallowed. "They didn't breach it today. They've been inside for decades." Silence filled the room. Humanity had never prepared for revenge. They had prepared for survival. Every Dominion expansion, every fleet movement, every weapons upgrade, human intelligence had quietly observed it all. The Empire had mistaken human patience for weakness. In reality, it had been under observation since the day it first entered known space. At that moment, every screen across Vorth Prime changed. The Dominion emblem disappeared. Earth's blue insignia appeared in its place. Admiral Hayes addressed not only the government, but the entire galaxy. "People of the Dominion, we are not here to conquer you. We are not here to destroy your worlds. Our war has never been against innocent lives." She paused. "It has always been against those who believed fear was stronger than freedom." Across the capital, frightened civilians listened. Even Dominion soldiers lowered their weapons. Hayes continued. "Your leaders declared war. They sought extinction. We offer something they never offered anyone. A choice. Surrender your weapons. Stand down your fleets. And no more blood will be spilled. For several long moments, nothing happened. Then one Dominion cruiser transmitted a signal. "We surrender." Another followed. Then another. Within minutes, thousands of warships across the Empire powered down their weapons. Entire planetary defense forces laid down their arms. The greatest military machine in galactic history collapsed, not because every ship had been destroyed, but because every soldier finally realized the truth. They had been fighting an enemy who possessed overwhelming power, yet chose mercy over annihilation. On the bridge of the Resolute, Commander Morgan looked toward Admiral Hayes. "The Dominion has fallen." Hayes gazed at the stars outside the viewport. "No. The Dominion defeated itself the moment it declared war on humanity." But deep beneath the Imperial Palace, far below the capital, an ancient vault unlocked itself for the first time in thousands of years. The forgotten artificial intelligence awakened. Its first words echoed through the darkness. Emergency Protocol Omega activated. Preparing the final weapon. Humanity had won the war. But an even greater threat had just awakened. Deep beneath the ruined Imperial Palace of Vorth Prime, ancient machinery groaned back to life. Massive doors that had remained sealed for over 5,000 years slowly opened, releasing clouds of frozen vapor into the darkness. Red warning lights flashed through abandoned corridors while forgotten defense systems awakened one after another. On the bridge of the THS Resolute, every sensor alarm activated simultaneously. A tactical officer looked up in disbelief. "Admiral, we've detected an energy surge beneath the capital." Commander Morgan frowned. "It doesn't match Dominion technology." The ship's AI responded instantly. "Analysis complete. Energy signature predates every known civilization." Silence filled the bridge. Hayes narrowed her eyes. So the legends were true. Far below the surface, a colossal machine slowly emerged from its underground cradle. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't a station. It was a weapon built by the mysterious first architects, an ancient civilization believed to have vanished millions of years before any modern species reached the stars. The machine's central intelligence finally spoke. Protocol Omega acknowledged. "Current assessment. Galactic Dominion has failed. Initiating sterilization of all advanced civilizations." Across the galaxy, observatories detected the impossible. Stars began disappearing from navigation charts. Entire systems went dark. The ancient weapon wasn't targeting planets. It was preparing to erase every civilization in the galaxy. Friend and foe alike. Panic spread instantly. Former Dominion commanders transmitted desperate distress calls. Galactic Council representatives begged for help. Species that had once mocked humanity now looked toward Earth with hope. On every channel, one question echoed. Can anyone stop it? Admiral Hayes stood before the main viewport. The Dominion started this war. She looked toward Commander Morgan. But humanity will finish it. The Resolute accelerated toward Vorth Prime, followed by more than 100,000 Terran warships. Behind them came something even more remarkable. Ships from every corner of the galaxy. Dominion survivors. Independent republics. Merchant alliances. Former enemies. For the first time in history, the galaxy fought as one fleet. Not under fear, but under trust. As the ancient weapon rose into orbit, its surface unfolded like a mechanical planet. Gigantic energy collectors stretched across thousands of kilometers, drawing power directly from nearby stars. The AI issued one final warning. Organic conflict probability, unacceptable. Solution, total extinction. A sphere of blinding white energy began forming around the machine. Morgan whispered, "If that fires." Hayes finished the sentence. "There won't be a galaxy left to save." She opened a secure channel to every human vessel. No retreats. No hesitation. We protect every world. Today, humanity keeps its promise. 120,000 captains answered with a single phrase. For Earth. The fleet charged. Human rail cannons hammered the weapon's outer shields while alien cruisers targeted its exposed energy collectors. Swarms of autonomous drones slipped through defensive fire, creating openings for heavy battleships. Still, the ancient machine kept charging. Its shields regenerated faster than they could be destroyed. Then the Resolute's AI made a discovery. There is one weakness. The central quantum core. Morgan looked at Hayes. It would require a direct collision. Everyone understood. No ship could survive. Hayes smiled calmly. Then that's our answer. Before anyone could protest, she transferred command of the fleet to Morgan. The mission comes first. The THS Resolute surged ahead alone. Every remaining reactor overloaded. Every reserve engine ignited. The massive flagship became a blazing comet racing toward the heart of the ancient weapon. At the last second, thousands of human ships concentrated their fire, opening a narrow gap in the shields. Hayes whispered one final message. Tell Earth. We kept the stars free. The Resolute struck the quantum core. For one breathtaking instant, the galaxy became pure white. Silence. The ancient weapon shattered into billions of glowing fragments that drifted harmlessly through space. Every surviving fleet watched in awe. Humanity had ended the greatest threat the galaxy had ever known, not through conquest, but through sacrifice. Months later, the Galactic Council gathered once again. This time, no throne stood above the others. No empire ruled the stars. A new charter was signed, founded on equality, cooperation, and peace. Above the council chamber's entrance, a single inscription was carved into white stone. Never mistake humanity's desire for peace as an inability to wage war. And from that day forward, whenever a young civilization asked why no empire dared threaten Earth again, the elders always gave the same answer. Because the last one declared war. And humanity's reply changed the galaxy forever.